When we talk about maladaptive daydreaming, we often talk about the compulsive and incessant and constant need to daydream. What I want to talk about is when those horrible times that sometimes come along where you can't daydream, at least properly. Because this happened to me not long ago. I mean, I'm only just coming out of this, and it was one of the worst things ever, because I would try so hard to get back into that place, and it just wasn't happening. I stuck my character in every alternate universe I could think of. I thought every plot point I could think of. I introduced new characters who fell apart, and I would, instead of my usual relaxation and calming and happiness that came with daydreaming, I was really frustrated and I got really upset, and it just really brought me down for a while. It doesn't help that me and my best friend are both daydreamers, and it was most of what we talked about, and it suddenly found like everything that I was as a person kind of crashed. I don't know if any other daydreamers feel like this, but it's often all I have about me. My daydreaming defines me. It's all I really have as a definitive feature of myself. So when that kind of wasn't there, I was like, oh god, who am I? What is life? What do normal people even think about? My brain is so empty, you know? So I wanted to kind of talk about a few things you can do when you just can't daydream properly or something like that. You have creative block, but for your daydreams, which isn't quite rare, but nonetheless very frustrating. So starting with, you could watch. This is normally something I'm not able to do because I get triggered. Oh god, God's sake. My laptop is trying to update, and it's calling it change is good because I've been putting it off that long. Lol. No, it's not. Often, because I get triggered from movies and books, I can't read or watch very many of them. Maybe you could try that. Try and deliberately set it off. Things that, you know, give you a lot of inspiration in the past. Things of that nature. Maybe go through a few things that you've written in the past, like stories, if you draw, or if you do anything else artistic with your daydreams, which most people do. Maybe have a look through them, see if you can kind of get your mind back in the place. Maybe consider breaking the rules a bit. When the thing that got me out of my little like I can't daydream space was my child had children. Wow. My main character had kids, and I eventually got bored with the infants because there's not much you can do with them, but the main character kind of has to be around them from their forth. So basically I entirely broke the rules and I made them teenagers, which isn't best for the narrative, but it got me out that little space and everything's back to normal now. Maybe try and keep yourself busy. I found for some reason when I was not in the worst of it, when I was still like getting into it and then getting out of it, I could daydream when I was doing other things. So if I was doing like homework, if I was outside, anything that wasn't my usual like pacing or just sitting on my bed or anything like that, as long as I was multitasking, I found I could create some kind of story. Could maybe take the little break and the constant need to daydream to start writing some of it down, even if it's stuff like bullet points. I mean, I started making like character cards because normally I couldn't do these things, so I get triggered halfway through and then like I'd never finish them. But while I was in this state where I wasn't getting triggered, I got it done a lot faster, and it kind of calmed me a little. And as I've talked about before, the freak out that is, what if one day I forget about my characters, you know? So those are just a few ideas I had that I wanted to share for anyone else that was in that incredibly distressing place. I mean, we've just had summer holidays, and I found that during the summer holidays my daydreaming was really intense at the beginning, and then the longer they continued, like less and less I would feel the need to daydream, because often it is a form of procrastination, whether we like to admit that or not. And we like to take inspiration from our real lives. And if you're anything like me, the second the summer holidays hit, you're not doing anything, you're sitting inside all day, all the inspiration is going down, all the things that you could be doing that isn't daydreaming is going down, and you suddenly have much less reason to daydream, and you often find yourself in this place that I've just been describing where maybe you can daydream, it's just not the same, and you're just doing the same things over and over again, and that can get very distressing. So yeah, I just wanted to share a few ideas on how to get out of that. I'm gonna goodbye.